Republicans, many people like me, we watched what the media did when it came to the Russia collusion narrative. And then it wasn't just Russia was interfering in the election. There were accusations that Donald Trump colluded with Russia to actually steal the 2016 election. And that simply was not true. So for all of the interest that Democrats now have with the Epstein files, they didn't do it when Donald Trump's first term. They didn't do it in Joe Biden's term. And so now everyone is concerned about the Epstein files based on what seems to be a note, a birthday note to Donald Trump that was supposedly written 2 months before Vanity Fair ran a profile of Jeffrey Epstein titled The Talented Mr. Epstein. Why is it that no one is interested in talking about who was connected to Epstein during that time? And it was Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey mentioned in that article as the people who were flying around on Epstein's plane. There is no such of interest from the media on that. So
just own up to it. Why doesn't he just do that?
Own up to what? What the Wall Street Journal calls unverified hearsay, which is a redundant term that an editor should strike. Unverified hearsay.
It's actually not redundant.
What is hearsay?
Well, hearsay is a legal term.
What is hearsay?
Hearsay is a legal term.
And it's unverified, so use it if you want.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Why should he go out there and have to own up to anything? He's not ever been credibly accused. The Washington Post ran a fact check on this the other day and said, we're confident there's nothing about the president. If there were, we would know about it. Unverified hearsay is what he's dealing with, and you want him to go out and fight this ghost? It's ridiculous.
Epstein believed that Donald Trump went to the Palm Beach police and said, Jeffrey Epstein has young girls at his house, thereby beginning the legal process, which would ultimately bring Jeffrey Epstein down.
Libs. You saw from the intro, it's so baffling how their mind works, how the liberal mind works. Democrats say nothing about the Epstein files during Trump's first administration, nor Biden's presidency. Now they and the fake news media are more interested in peddling conspiracies about Trump than Kevin Spacey and Bill Clinton, who regularly flew on Epstein's plane. Like, who's more, like, this is the consistency problem that the Democrats have, because last time I checked, didn't you guys spend, 4 years going after Donald Trump, putting charges against him? Like, I think if there was some real connection with Epstein while Joe Biden was in office, I think it would have been a good time to drop it, especially if he was trying to protect the democracy from Donald Trump, right? I mean, you're willing to remove Donald Trump from the ballot. You're trying to make arguments of why he shouldn't, voters should not be allowed to vote for Donald Trump, right? You have mugshots of Donald Trump, and you didn't want to drop the Epstein files when it would have been politically convenient for you, because we know Democrats' pattern of behavior already. Democrats' pattern of behavior is they'll do anything that's politically expedient for them. So why would they keep such a politically expedient piece of information if they knew the Epstein stuff was true? Maybe it's not. Maybe there's no shred of credibility to them. Because at the end of the day, if I really believe my claims, I want an investigation to vindicate my assumptions, my conspiracy, my theory. But it seemed like Democrats don't have that itch. Yes, Donald Trump is totally implicated in the Epstein files. That's why it was never released during the 2016, 2020, 2024 election, even as they were trying to put him in jail. Meanwhile, I just gave a Nigerian prince my social security number, invested in FTX. You get the joke. You get the joke. You had 2016, 2020, 2024 elections. All these, the media rather push fake hoaxes. Russia collusion hoax, the Steele dossier hoax, let Adam Schiff lie to them on camera saying that he has conclusive, irrefutable evidence that Donald Trump colluded with Russia. And when the report came out, no evidence. But Tulsi Gabbard declassified reports, then spoke to the media about the reports, and the media is still saying it's baseless claims. Make it make sense. But this is the media apparatus that we have. And it shows how politically complicit the media is, that they want you to focus on the Epstein stuff. Why? Because they know that the Epstein stuff is important to some or many MAGA supporters, and they're using this as a political tool to try to fracture the base. And they're finding out it's not really working.
The deep state. I mean, I think this could...
I was there. I was in Tampa. Listen, two things can be true at the same time. You can have frustration over an issue, but at the same time be enormously happy with everything Donald Trump has done, because everything he's done is what he said he was going to do. And there's not a shred of polling evidence. There's not a shred of polling evidence. He's at historic numbers among his own people, and there's a narrative that's this has been the fantasy of Democrats for 6 months. Oh, they're going to regret it. They're going to buyer's remorse. It's not true. They love the president, and they love him even more today than they did a few weeks ago.
But it's also true that the unshakable, rock-solid nature of his base has been the thing that has been the foundation of his political success through turbulent moments when people were saying, oh, this is the end of Donald Trump. It was the fact that his base was absolutely unmoved by any argument against him, and that's just not the case here. You've got the tip of the MAGA spear on Twitter calling him out.
You and I read the same polling,
saying that he's not. I agree with you that the polling. I agree with you that the polling right now does not look like it's taking the hit. I think this is a different moment for Trump, though, because you see leadership, vocal leadership in the MAGA movement calling him out directly in a way that they never have the entire time he's been on the national stage. And I think that's different. That is different.
It strikes me as different for all, because you said, well, this has been their dream for the last 6 months. I mean, it's been Democrats' dream for the last 10 years that, like, oh, everyone's going to he's insulted John McCain, right? That was back in 2015. Nothing happened. Nothing has gotten to the base.
You just
the base of Trump.
You just raised the key point. Democrats didn't care about this until 5 minutes ago. They did nothing. Biden did nothing to do anything about this until they thought it could be used as a political weapon against Trump. There's no sincerity here
but they
about
also
Epstein or the victims. It's just politics.
Maxwell was appealing her case.
Just
Democrats were
politics.
not campaigning on the idea that we were going to make these documents public. That was your guy. That was your guy. That was your.
I just watched CNN, and it's a race to the bottom over there. They're using tabloid people now, disgusting, awful human beings who come in, and they're trying to tell their audience at CNN that Trump was somehow involved in molestation. That's what they're trying to weave over there. It's horrible, based on nothing, okay? So that's what's going on. I'm pleased to be here on News Nation to clarify the record.
Many people on the left are making accusations, and I think it might be, there's some truth to it, right? I think Trump is trying to distract with this, but like Trump will ask you the question, you're interested in this Epstein stuff that there's no chance in hell is going to be released because Democrats didn't want to release it, Republicans don't want to release it, and we have insider information for reasons why both parties don't want to release this thing. Or this one that implicates the Democratic Party and how they try to undermine my election, which we all have speculation that this was true. What do you think the MAGA supporters are going to care about more? The Epstein stuff is going to be a close second. That's all I'm going to say. And even my accusation here is even Democrats are using the Epstein thing as a distracting from Trump's wins. Trump just did a trade deal with the EU. Trump just finish a trade deal with Japan. They're using the Epstein stuff to distract from that as well. And it's the pot calling the kettle black here. And this is what I'm talking about with the media and their negative bias and the liberal bias interrupting and just muddling the knowledge system in our country. Because they put up garbage like what we're showing, focusing on something that if you look at the bounds of probabilities, are we going to get this anytime soon? The answer is no. And here's even the bigger point why Democrats, in my estimation, why Democrats don't want to release it. Because it'll implicate more Democrats than conservatives. This is my argument. Because Bill Clinton, we know Bill Clinton was on that plane. We know Bill Gates, he was on that plane. Maybe, I forget the whole circumstance of the story. But I know Bill Gates was involved. I know Bill Clinton was involved on the plane. I feel like it will make if it got released, it may hurt Republicans, but I feel like it's going to hurt Democrats a lot more and a lot of Democratic donors. And I think this is one of the reasons why it's not going to get, the Democrats were never going to release it. But, I digress. Let's get into the clip.
The Russiagate hoax was indeed a national embarrassment. It was an outrageous effort by the elites to cling to power against the populist uprising represented by Trump. Now, that said, the report Gabbard claims debunked the Russiagate hoax looks awfully similar to the report she says was hidden by the Obama team. Certainly, there's little here, in my opinion, that justifies allegations of treason against former President Barack Obama. And yet, for the past 2 days, instead of flaunting his many and significant accomplishments, that is all President Trump has talked about. It's what he's flooding the zone with, to the exclusion of his own groundbreaking accomplishments. And these accomplishments are significant. For example, Did you know that a stock market explosion is boosting your 401k? Did you know that the S&P 500 and NASDAQ again closed at record highs? The Dow Jones is 4 points.
So one thing I'll argue with Batias about is the fact that we know how reactive Trump is. And the fact that, he's talking about flood the zone. Democrats were flooding the zone about the Epstein stuff. Trump's like, hey, look, I can't release this stuff. There's some damaging material on it. I don't feel comfortable releasing this in this footage. And the whole stuff with Elon Musk, and then the media jumped on that. Ever since Elon Musk made that accusation, the media has been honing in on the Epstein stuff. So Trump sees that, right? All his accomplishments during that time period between his feud with Elon Musk and the media jumping in on the Epstein stuff, they started a distraction from away from his achievements, and he got kind of caught up in that game. I understand that. And then he called the Epstein stuff a hoax. The media played that up. And then many people in MAGA felt disrespected. Like, oh, hey, look, man, I care about this story. You said, don't make a promise you wasn't willing to keep, Donald Trump. This is what many people were saying as a criticism of Donald Trump. And this is how it kind of captured everyone's attention, I may add. And then Democrats, they're adding on to it. They say they're seeing this fracture. Oh, this is our chance to divide his base, to damper his support. And we found out polls recently that it didn't do nothing. It didn't really hurt Donald Trump, right? So I think many Trump supporters recognize his achievements. This is just a critique of he could be better than this, right? So like, hey, like, this is just hey, we want more. Like, hey, can you throw us a bone and help us dispel what the hell's going on so we can possibly hold these people accountable, right? Because everyone has this curiosity about what the hell happened to the Epstein stuff. We have a good idea what happened over there. We want to know who was involved in it. The Epstein list is captured many people's imagination because of the fact that we feel like there's a couple of people who are truly above the law, it seems. If you did what they did, you go to jail. You be under the jail. They do it, scot-free. A man magically kill himself. The list doesn't exist anymore. People, this is the kind of the imagination that's got captured, but I don't think it's all Donald Trump's fault. I think Batias is making a claim like he's just focused on this issue. He's focusing on this issue because he's seeing the game that the media and Democrats are playing with the Epstein stuff. So he's just like, F it. Like, you want something to talk about? You want drama to talk about? Here's your drama. Here you go. And I think he just got caught up in that game. But I think this is just a temporary misstep. I think we'll go right back to talking about the economy, Trump's accomplishments. And even throughout all this, MAGA still gives their credit to Donald Trump. It's just, hey, that little extra that Donald Trump could really set himself apart. Hey, if you release this, you'll really be the GOAT. I think this is what the criticisms from the MAGA influencers is truly about. It's not really an undermining of his support. And you can see it by the polls. Trump's not hurt by this. It's just people want him to release the thing. That's it. Because in my estimation, people believe Trump is the only president in a long time that even has a chance to release something like this. And I think this is why people are so focused on the Epstein stuff. But I digress. Let's continue.
Shy of a record high set in December. That's due in part to the fact that the White House is on the verge of the biggest trade deal yet with the European Union. Yesterday, the president secured a trade deal with Japan that leaves a 15% tariff on Japan while securing American cars access to the Japanese market. Access we've been denied forever. This will revitalize America's car makers and manufacturing. It will raise billions of dollars in revenue. Thousands of working class families will be able to access a middle class life thanks to this deal. And it is no exaggeration to say that Donald Trump is the only person in America who could have pulled this off. But did you hear about this at all today? You didn't, because every headline was about President Trump calling President Obama a traitor. He may be trying to distract the noisy MAGA influencers from their fixation on Epstein. But what he's actually doing is distracting the American people who just don't care very much about Epstein from his own enormous accomplishments.
I don't know how I feel about that framing at the end, because it's not only MAGA influencers. I just showed you Democrats are hopping onto this too. They're pushing this too, right? They're trying to use this as a political moment, right, to hurt Trump's support. So I don't think it's only MAGA. Like, if it was only MAGA complaining about this, I don't think you'll get the attention that it's getting right now. But who's asking him these questions? Who keeps bringing up Epstein? The media. The media is overwhelmingly by liberals. So I think this is a misframing from Batia, but we all could disagree. We see some people that, call out Donald Trump for the Epstein stuff, Matt Walsh being one of them. Fine. But he's not like every episode, every chance he gets talking about this stuff. It's due to the media highlighting this stuff, amplifying this stuff that's causing this kind of reaction. But I think this is only a temporary distraction from Donald Trump. I think when people are doing well, they'll give the credit where credit is due. I think this is not really going to hurt Trump. I don't think it's as distracting as Batia make it out to be. I think the noise, it'll go away eventually. And I just think, I don't think it's just MAGA. I don't know why she's singling them out like that, but I don't know. We'll see. I think it's working. I mean, you counter a flood with another flood. It's okay. You want to keep bringing up Epstein? Look at Bill Clinton. Look at Kevin Spacey. Why you ain't talking about this? Look at the Vanity Fair. They were praising this guy, Mr. Talented, huh? This is the game. This is the political aspect of it that a lot of people don't like about politics, right? That you can't just focus on solving problems out here. You have to make narratives. And this is something that many conservatives learned from the left. The left love to make narratives but do absolutely nothing. Hey, we want to end homelessness. And then homelessness increase after you spend $24 billion of taxpayer money on it. Huh, California? Makes perfect sense. And conservatives are understanding the game. Donald Trump understands the game. He understands the game of narratives. He's like, okay, you're trying to hurt my support. You're trying to undermine my support. Okay, here you go. I got something for you. And this is the fight. This is why Donald Trump won in the first place. He's a fighter. He ain't gonna take this laying down. He ain't gonna let you smear his name in. Oh, I'm just gonna focus on the issues. We see how that worked out for other Republicans. Donald Trump don't play that game. And I think it's just true to his nature. He's gonna be a fighter. So, but I don't think it's hurting him as much as Batia is framing it. I think the American people do notice. I think the American people do know. It's just you got a whole apparatus that's 89% of the time negative against him. So he has to fight. He has to flood the zone. He has to do this, in my estimation. But you can disagree with me in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. What you guys think about this? Do you believe that Donald Trump releasing the DNI, the Russiagate drama is distracting from his accomplishments? Or do you think that he's warranted to release all this information given the fact that the media is so fixated on trying to tie him with Epstein? I'd like to hear your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you're so inclined. It really does help me on the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.